So I know you probably know how to cut a circle, but have you ever tried to punch a circle? Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to use your punches, your border maker system, to cut or to punch your way around a circle. And it's going to be super fun and add a really wonderful designer element to your layouts. So in this 101.5 lesson, come along, we're going to do some punching. All right, here's my workspace for today. I pulled out a few of the border maker cartridges that are still available on our website. This is the brand new one that just came out with the Poolside Paradise, and I thought it would be fun to share some samples of cutting or punching around the edge of a circle. So a couple of different things. I have a couple of different style border maker cartridges here. These three are chain style, which means they will punch away and create a chain that's connected. This one is edge style, so it will decorate the edge and then not cut away from that center circle. So this one actually, as I was checking it online, this one is called the Woven Scallop, and it is actually on last chance. So if you like this one, then you'll need to hurry on over there, and hopefully when this airs, it will still be available for you. We are going to use the circle maker today. We're also going to use the jumbo circle pattern, and this you can use either one of these to start. Of course, you have to start with a circle. Cutting a frame from a circle is not difficult, but you do need to know the appropriate size for what you want to work with. Now, earlier I was playing around with these sort of smaller squares. These are 9-inch squares, and I chose to cut a 7.5-inch circle and start with that rather than a 9-inch circle. And the reason is because you are left with less play at the end, and I'll share with you what I mean by that. But first of all, it's helpful if you know the center of your square, but just knowing that my center is going to be right about there, and then at the 5-inch mark right about there. I'm just trying to center this as well as I can so that I can cut a circle from the center and use the outer piece for something else if I want to. There we go. I'm not going to worry about those edges because we're going to punch the edges. So if you are not familiar with the CM circle maker, then I would encourage you to watch this video and you can learn more. I did do a tutorial on that a while ago, and you are welcome to check it out. So this is a 7.5-inch circle. I'll just go ahead and write that on here so you can see. You can see that. I recommend that you go with odd numbers and half inches if you are going to punch a circle around here. And let me show you why. So I was experimenting earlier, or last night actually, with a few of these to try to get a better feel for how much space or how large of a circle to start off with. And I think you will see with these first two that I actually got close to completing. When I made it all the way around, there was this much left using an 11-inch circle. I made it all the way around and there was this much left with an 11.5-inch circle. This one I haven't quite finished, so we can try and go the rest of the way with this one, and we'll just see where we get with that. So these teddy bears are super cute. They would be darling in a baby album. If you are familiar with punching in a circle, then you know that we turn the border maker housing upside down. So this is the housing that we use with our border maker system. And normally we use a straight bar like this to hold our paper, but going in a circle requires that we not use that. We do still use this. We've just put the cartridge that we've chosen in, lock it in place, and flip it upside down. And we do that so we can see the paper underneath and inside the punch. All right, so I'm just going to continue and punch this around until we get make the full circle. And the way that this one comes together is you want to link the arms so you can see in the punch. I'm going to push my paper all the way to the back, so the paper goes all the way to this back bit, and then the arms of the teddy bear are coming together underneath there, so that when I punch, he's holding hands with the guy next to him, even though there's this big triangle. We're going to come back in with our precision point scissors and trim that up and make it look super cute. So no need to worry about it just now, okay? So I'm going to once again come in here and make sure that his hands are meeting and punch, and then I should be able to punch one more. So I'm not sure what's going on with Maggie upstairs. She's barking. Okay, so see, we are left with this with a very close little triangle. Now if those little triangles bother you, don't worry about it, because we are going to do some creative trimming and get rid of those. Or if you don't want to try to accommodate a really large wedge right here and get creative with your scissors, you can just cover that with an embellishment. Make it down here in the corner, put an embellishment right there. It'll be darling, okay? With the teddy bears, what I have done to make them work is you can see how when the punch, on the punch, there's a heart right here where their hands come together. Let's see, that's a better view for you. So where the punches come together on the edges, I'm just making that into its own heart. So this is going to become a heart. I'm going to come in here with my precision point scissors and cut at an angle. Going to nip that little triangle right off, and then come in the other direction and at an angle and make that into a heart, okay? And then this upper portion, I'm just going to, again, come in at an angle, try to keep the width of the top part of that heart the same, so that it just creates a larger heart between the two teddy bears. So some of this is through experimentation, and I'm hoping that by my experimenting, you will be a little bit more inclined to use your punches in this way, because you will already know how large a circle. Whoops, I just tore that one. I'll have to fix it if I decide to use this on something. You'll already know how large a circle to use, so you won't have to waste as much paper, because you saw what I used. So we're just gonna finish this up, nip that, and nip that. All right, so now we have this larger one over here, and let's see what we can do with it. Let's see if I can continue the heart over, continue this one. Okay, I'm going to flip this over just to make it a little bit easier for me to see proportionately where I want to cut. All right. So there's my the bigger heart where we came together. So now that circle is completed. All right, so let's look at a couple of these other ones and finish them up so that you can see what I have done to make them look finished. Okay, so this is the newest one. This is the Wave Crest punch. I love it in the circle. I think it looks so nice. And this is I started with an 11-inch circle. I think if I had started with an 11.5-inch circle, we would have had enough room. We can try it again, and I'll try it again and show you a picture with an 11.5-inch circle, and we'll see how that works. But there is not enough room here to punch it again. So if I punched it again, I would just basically ruin the circle, and I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to and I'm going to go the embellishment route with this particular one. But in order to finish this one up and make it ready to go, all you're doing is continuing the wave. And then I continued the wave on this next little area as well, and cut this little part out so that it's a continuous looking piece. So you can, if you don't want to go in here and remove this little piece, then of course, you know, don't. It's up to you. But I feel like it lends itself to looking a little bit more fluid by cutting that little piece out. All right, so we're just going to do this one more. Oh, we have two more, sorry. We have two more. Then we'll need to separate this from the center. So I think what I would do, just for the sake of being able to be a little more fluid, I would just go ahead and kind of add a little bit of a wave in here. Same thing here on the bottom. Okay, to separate that. And you can just leave that solid if you're gonna add an embellishment over the top. Just leave that solid and no one will ever know it's there once an embellishment is on there. But isn't that cute? I think that's super cute. Makes a really nice frame. All right, so that's the Teddy Bear Border Maker cartridge. This is the Wave Crest Border Maker cartridge on an 11-inch circle. So actually I think I'll leave this under there so you can see. Maybe you can't see that very well online. This is an 11-inch circle. And this is a 7.5. All right, So this one lined up a whole lot better, and this is the Scallop, the woven Scallop border maker cartridge, and you can see it got to within a ½ an inch of making it all the way around. Oh, I don't need to punch any more of this one, but this is the one that is on last chance, so if you are interested in this one, you need to jump on it right away. But this one is pretty easy to trim. You simply make that arch match, and same thing under here to get that notch out of there. Come on. So once that is done, then you have a complete design all the way around, which is lovely. So I'm just going to cut this outside one for you. And then I would go ahead and just continue this arch over. And if you do that on the inside here too, then you have a high chance of making this blend in to the rest of the punch, so it's less noticeable. If someone's looking for it, they're going to find it, but it is less noticeable. And getting this one on this little bit on the inside can be a little bit of a pain, to be honest, but it is well worth it to go in there and try and snip that out. Okay, so this is an 11½ inch circle, and it seems like it works pretty well with the woven scallop. We are left with that tiny little bit that didn't quite meet up, but now that I've turned it around a little bit, do you see the place where it came together? Not as easily. It's right here. All right, so it does blend a whole lot more, which is nice. Let me show you the Brocade chain. This one is really fun. And the key here, now, oops, this is the wrong border maker cartridge. The key is to get the right border maker cartridge. Okay, so the Brocade chain, and we're going to turn this around. And when you are punching this one, it is a chain punch, so it's going to completely separate from the other page. You want to make sure it connects. So this is a little bit hard to see, but I'm going to try hard to show you. So you can see where the punched place is right here. You want the void, the punched out area, to be meeting up with that area. So I'm going to move it and show you the difference. See where the punch comes together? Okay, that little corner, this one right here, is what you are going to meet up with this little corner inside. All right, and when you do that, you get a continuous design, which is so lovely and really, really nice to put on a wedding layout or something, you know, fancy, because it just looks fancy. When I think of brocade, I think of fancy things anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and continue this and finish this up so you can see where it comes together. This is an 11¾ inch 11¾ inch circle, and you're going to see here that with this particular punch, it actually works super well. This is the last punch that I just made, and you can see how it actually connects amazingly well. All right, so 11¾ may be the key measurement for many of these, but certainly for the Brocade chain it is, because you can see how clean. I mean, there are some little bumps, but it is, in the grand scheme of things, very clean. And then you just come back in here with your scissors and smooth out those outer arches, which is a little bit of a fussy cutting thing. And if you don't enjoy fussy cutting, then, you know, I get it, but these are so fun to add to your albums. They can really jazz things up, and it's not really too difficult, I don't think, to do. I need to use them more often. And when I'm not doing Ireland, my Ireland album the whole time, then, you know, it will make things a little bit easier. But can you see that, how that just continues around? We don't have to do any fixing on this one because there's nothing to fix, right? Super cool. So that was an 11 3/4 inch circle, and I would bet that 11 3/4 might work best for these others as well. I can try it, and then I'll put a little note in the description of the video if 11 3/4 is going to work. I don't want to take your time up in the video because we already have been at this for a while. But so let me just write this on here so it's easier for you to see. 11 3/4 inches. 11 3/4 inches is the biggest circle you can make with your circle maker. And I am not entirely certain that you can make that with this, but it's possible with the blue blade on the outside that it would make an 11 3/4. I will experiment with that and let you know in the description of the video. All right. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm so happy. I will be so happy if you comment and tell me that you tried this and let me know how it went for you, because these can be so fun in your albums and really, really dresses up your circles. So let me know. All right. Thanks so much for joining me. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Enjoy your day. All right, so I'm going to try and see what the biggest circle is that we can make with our jumbo circle maker. We're going to measure it after I cut this. So I'm just centering my jumbo circle on a 12 by 12 piece of paper as much as I can, and we're going to go around the edge with our blue blade, which is the one that gets the farthest away. All right, and let's check it out and see how wide that is. Okay, so we're going to measure it. My blade caught right there. Okay, so we're going to measure it starting at the 20-inch line, and we are very close. We're probably within about 1/8 of an inch of being 11 3/4, so it's probably 11 and whatever the measurement is between 5/8 and 3/4. That's how close we are. So let's try it with this, and we will see if we can get all the way around and make this one connect. This is the newest one from Poolside Paradise, the Wave Crest border maker cartridge. Ouch, pinched my finger. Okay. All right, so we'll snap my fingers. We'll pretend I snapped my fingers, and then we'll see this when we get to the end. Okay, here we are at the end. Let's see if we can, nope. It's still gonna not meet up. That's going to mess things up. Okay, so this is an 11 3/4 circle, which I did get by using my jumbo circle cutter and my blue blade around the outside. I got that 11 and more than 11 5/8, almost 11 3/4 inch circle. But with this particular, with the Wave Crest Border Maker cartridge, you can see it still leaves a large gap here. So I would say let's try using our red blade and see if we get that gap to close up just a little bit better. Using our red blade will give us a 11 1/4 inch circle, and typically in the past I've had other advisors say that using your red blade on the outside edge of the circle is the right way to go to get it to all match up. However, I don't know. So let's try it. We'll try it. The red blade on the outside. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so here we are at the end, and we are just about matching. Maybe not entirely, so let's see if we can get that last punch in. Okay, so it almost flows. Look at that. Really, really close. So maybe the answer is, again, the 11 1/2. We need just a little bit more room. We didn't try the 11 1/2 with this one, did we? This one was 11. This was an 11 1/4. You could even leave that edge around the outside if you wanted to. That looks kind of like a sun to me. Kind of cool. So we tried it. And what was this one? This was 11 3/4. This was 11 3/4. This was 11 1/4, and it had like a crunch right there. So if we had just a little bit more room, but not so much more room. I think this is an interesting experiment. So I'm going to do one more at 11 1/2. Okay, let's see if this is the magic one. All right, so there we go. This is 11 1/2, and so we end up with that much of a variance. So just a little bit. So this was, I'm going to lay this out here so you can see better the differences. Hang on just a second. So we'll get that stuck it there. Those. All right, so this was 11 1/2 inch circle. Oh my goodness. So jumbo circle, green blade. Okay. We had 11 1/4. 11 1/4 inch circle, which was this one. And remember, let's see, where's our spot where we munched together? Right here. Okay, so 11 1/4 is darn near perfect. We just have this little munch right here. We had 11 inches, and the 11-inch circle had this much variance. And then 11 3/4 had that much variance. So interesting to see kind of the difference. I think 11 1/4 is kind of the sweet spot for this particular punch. But there again, it does get a little bit munchy, so you could cover that with an embellishment. Super easy, because that's just really tiny right there. And that would probably be my preference, would be to use the 11 1/4, which is again using your jumbo circle pattern, and the red blade around the outside will get you 11 1/4. Okay, so this is the red blade. This was cut using the circle maker, so this one or this one, and this 11 3/4 was using the blue blade.